Great job, guys. And next we have Keith Boylan singing Baby by Justin Bieber. Just kidding, just kidding. Let me introduce Keith doing whatever Keith does.
Hey, thanks, Ryan. Hi, everyone. Okay, so let me be perfectly honest. I haven't prepared anything for this. In fact, 2 days ago, Amir was like, Keith, we need 12 acts, because then it'll be like 12 days of Christmas and stuff. And Jimmy bailed. Thing is, Jimmy was this juggling mayfly that we thought would be really cool to have him, but we didn't remember that mayflies are these animals that only live for 24 hours and then they die. And the first 12 hours was spent learning to juggle. The second 12 was writing his memoirs, and then he was gone. So they needed something. So here I am. Anyway, I don't want you guys to think of this as a comedy routine, because whenever it's comedy, people go in, the audience goes in, it's like, oh, this is comedy. I'm not going to laugh because I want to be difficult. I want this to be difficult for you. So I'm hoping you guys won't be like that. Just think of me as like Garrison Keillor. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but he does this radio show called The Prairie Home Companion, and nothing really happens in it, ever. It's just people like to listen to the timbre of his voice because he tells these interesting stories about towns that don't exist. And as a kid, I didn't know his name was Garrison Keillor. I didn't know he was like a guy. But my mom would play him in the car sometimes, and the first time I remember hearing him, he was talking about sausages. He was like, my aunt would make sausages. So from that point on, to me, he was just, oh, it's the Sausage Man! He's on the radio! I had a lot of weird relationships with men as a child. For instance, my dad was really fond of watching Nightly Business Report. And that was another thing that as a kid I just couldn't comprehend. It was just he'd be staring at the TV watching a man talk to him. So when my mom would ask what my dad was up to, I'm like, oh, he's just watching the man. And I guess that sort of came up recently in current events because Julian Assange, whistleblower for WikiLeaks, who's always watching the man, was recently released from jail. And I think this is interesting because the US, we sort of realize we're so far behind from China in the education front, but we could get ahead in the persecuting people front. Because in China, if you live in China and you point fingers at the government, you go to jail. But in the US, we already get people from Australia. We're so far ahead. To be fair though, I've been to China. It's a wonderful place, a little different than the US, primarily in, don't get offended Chinese people, standards of hygiene. For example, on my trip to China, I was dumb enough to pack this tiny little travel deodorant of like Axe Clicks, and my friend's like, dude, Clicks is disgusting. I'm like, I know, my mom packed it, don't just... Obviously I ran out, because it's hot there. So I told my Chinese pangyo, Wong Kong Bu, yo man, I need some deodorant. And he's like, well, I'm like, well, can we go to like a supermarket? He's like, well, we could. So we go to the supermarket, and we walk in, and there's like meat just chilling. Literally, like not even chilling, because they didn't have ice, it was just there. And so we asked the lady at the front, hey, do you have deodorant? She just laughs. She laughed. We said it in Chinese, of course. I mean, so we go to like the section where they have like hygienic products, if you want to call them that. And it took us an hour because we asked this dude, like, do you have deodorant in Chinese? I forget how you say it. It shows you how much I learned. And he took us to Febreze. Eventually I did find this sort of like stick of like Nivea liquid cologne-ish stuff that may or may not have stopped me from sweating because it was like really wet. Yeah. In other recent events, I don't know if any of you heard, but they're releasing new Pokemon. Like 100 new ones. And I've always wondered just how the people of the Pokemon universe sort of react to that. Like, oh, there's 100 more things that we didn't know were there. I think it'd be really funny if scientists here on Earth all just conspire, hey, let's keep all the animals a secret for every 5 years. And then they release them and it's the big event like, oh, the new animals are out! This one, it's a frog with volcanoes for eyes! And its only weakness is the bat whose fingers are eye drops. I never got eye drops. Whoever invented them must have been pretty crazy. Like, dude, my eye hurts, let's put more stuff in it. Ow. Yeah. So, any of you guys do IB? Anyone? IB diploma? Yeah? IB takes a lot of commitment. You have to commit a lot of hours doing homework. You have to do CAS. You don't have to, there are ways around it, but you should do CAS. And then, like, you also have to give up Christmas. And did you guys hear that? Because, like, Santa only comes to your house if you're sleeping. and we don't sleep. We don't sleep. In fact, funny story, sort of. One of these nights when I wasn't sleeping, it was I think it was the math portfolio paper was due. I just didn't sleep. I tried to go to bed. I mean, it's not like I didn't try, but I was in bed and like my lamp is just talking to me. He's like, look at you. I'm like, what can you say? You're a lamp. He was so judgmental, and I'm just like, just stop. So at that point, it's like 3 in the morning. I'm like, I need to get away from this lamp. He was just making me really upset. And I had this intense craving for Chex Mix, and I don't know why, because I got really sick of it because I'm eating it a lot. So I go downstairs, and it's 3 in the morning, and I find the Chex Mix bag. I'm like, yes. And I go, and I'm on the couch downstairs, like eating it, like shivering because it's freezing cold, and I don't understand anything because I haven't slept. And then the Chex Mix in my mouth is just crunching so loud, and I'm like, they're gonna wake up, they'll hear me crunching, and they'll find me here. Yeah, that's like me, basically. Thanks, guys. Okay. This next act, hold on 1 second. Alright, this is cool. We got Deirdre Jones, Jack Hales, Mac Haight, and Brendan Baker in a fantastic musical performance of a song called Lucky. Alright, let's give it up.